Single Simulcast is about a lot of things. This podcast may make you laugh, cry, or pound your fists into your desk. If you hear something you like or something you don't, leave a voicemail at 916-572-9016 or email us at singlesimulcast@gmail.com.
1. Single Simulcast.
Single Simulcast, episode 315. Shanta's here, and I'm here. And honestly, Shanta, before we do anything else, what is Jarman's friend's name?
His name is Justin Parker.
There was Justin Parker was a friend of Jarman and also Shanta, and he passed away in a tragic accident today. And so I would like to just do a moment of silence before we even get into everything else. So just a moment of silence, just like 10 seconds or so. So, episode 315 is it's always hard to do a show like this. And sound light and bubbly and airy and all of that kind of stuff. But from what you've told me, Justin was a really good dude. And I'm just hopeful that in his life he was able to touch and help enough people that the world was made better by him being in it. Jarman, if you need anything, hit me up. Shanta, if you need anything, I got you. And yeah. Weird.
Appreciate it.
Huh?
I said I appreciate it.
Oh, it's nothing. Weird turn. Just kind of sudden, just out of nowhere, just like going straight, and then all of a sudden, Shanta started as the host of Single Simulcast on episode 215. We're on episode 315. That's 100. That means this is Shanta's episode 100. And so, I didn't even write anything. I didn't even write a speech. I'm not prepared for this. So, just bear with me as I speak on what God places on my lips. So, first of all, episode 315 is Shanta's 100th, nigga. I want to say that there is literally nobody better. I am looking forward to the day that I can just step away from this completely because I know Shanta is going to run the show. She's already got all the keys and security codes. It's pretty much a wrap. I don't freaking know how you put up with me for 100 episodes. I'm too scared to ask. I just act like each episode is the first time I've met you. Just in case it's like 51st dates and you forget that I'm a dick. Like, I'm just like, hey, Shanta. Hey, girl. You ready to do this episode? Yeah, it's episode 315. So when you were like, this is my 100th, I was like, fuck, she remembered. But you're still here. And that's just awesome.
I love that.
I feel like you deserve a medal. You deserve sainthood. If it wasn't for the fact that the Catholic Church is literally about to get cases put on it in every state. Like, I was just reading about that earlier today about how, like 4 other states, including New York,
Oh, wow.
have opened up investigations on the Catholic Church because if there are at least 1,000 kids in Pennsylvania, New York is like, I know that y'all were doing just horrible stuff to kids in our city too, and we just didn't. Can we be honest? Like, word, for real, all y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. I should be ashamed of myself, but growth won't let us be ashamed of ourselves, so we have to move on. I think that's how growth works. I was talking with Jeremy about it on Crown and College a couple weeks back. Because I was like, I hear my old episodes and I feel bad, and I'm like, I cringe and all that. And Jeremy was like, I don't feel shit. And I was like, I want to be like you when I grow up. But everybody made jokes about the Catholic Church.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, like when Sinead O'Connor came out on Saturday Night Live and told the truth about the Catholic Church, niggas was just like, Prince sang all your songs better than you ever could. Cancel.
Yeah.
Like, niggas were really, white folks were like, I'm Catholic, you're full of shit, that's horrible, you should be excommunicated. Black folks were like, you stole Prince's music. And I was so mad when I first heard Prince's Nothing Compares to You, and I was like, I know this song. Like, when I was old enough to recognize it, I was like, I know this song. How dare she? But Catholic Church is look, my mindset is this. The next war that's going to happen in this country isn't going to be a civil war. It's not going to be a race war like the alt-right is looking for, like the white supremacists are looking for. It's going to be literally religion. Because religion is overshadowing enough things in this day and age that there's got to be residual feelings about what they're fucking up, like what they're doing. So that's what I'm worried about. Like, the future is going to be like the Crusades or something, like all the way through from Sacramento, California, all the way to Atlanta. There's just going to be like war, and it's going to be all bad. But we're not here to talk about that right now. Shantae's been here for 100, y'all. She ain't left. If you're amazed, how do you think I feel? We got through the book of lies. Like, seriously. The first time I told her I was going to buy that book, she thought I was fucking joking, y'all. Until I popped up with it. And she sat through. How the hell did you do that?
I was committed to the show. I mean, that's really, it was just like, I said I was going to be the co-host, and we were going to do this book, and it was just like, well, fuck it, we're going to do it. And so I gritted my teeth, and we got through it.
I mean, literally gritted your teeth. Like, the Marge groans were so just such a big part of the show at that point in time. And I was just like skipping through, just la 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 la. I don't know. Like, seriously. I admire the fact that you put up with me while putting up with Rachel Dolezal. That's a fucking tragic combination right there. Because my voice reading Rachel Dolezal, as shitty as it is, and hearing Rachel Dolezal, and then researching that shit was just like, oh. But you never quit. You were too legit. And then there were the guests that we had on the show. I mean, I fucking brought Jarman onto the show, and all he did was try to aggravate.
He did what he does anyway. He did. If anybody follows both of us on Twitter, it's him trying to aggravate me, and me, trying to aggravate him back. Or it's mostly me responding to his tweets and him being like incredulous that I'm awake at the time that he's tweeting reckless. And I'm right there saying, why are you tweeting this shit? Like, what's the matter with you? And he's like, I thought I could get that off. Why aren't you asleep? Kind of thing.
The crazy thing is, every single time that I am on Twitter, which not often, be honest with you, every so often, sometimes, but every time I'm on Twitter, I see something reckless that he's tweeted.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, here it comes. Here it comes. And then, like, bruh man, fifth flow, here you come. Like, what the fuck is this shit, Jarman? He's like, I didn't think you were here for that. And you're like, I'm not here for that, motherfucker. And I'm like, yeah, we're not gonna take it. So, I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all. Like, I've said this before, but this show is as much your child at this juncture as it is mine. Like, if you were to go on the Single Simulcast website and look at the word bank thing that shows the most frequently put things into the keywords, your name is getting bigger and bigger. It's like, and Scars is getting smaller and smaller, because really, we only, like, I don't know, like, I don't gotta say his name. He knows. Actually, it's because I don't do the keywords for the Dream Team on Single Simulcast anymore. I'm like, the people who are gonna join us, they know what they're in for. Enough said. But yeah, no, I'm grateful. Actually, let me see. You deserve everything, every credo in the world. You deserve every compliment in the world. You deserve every bit of thanks in the world for making this show into what it is right now. And I don't even think you know that. I think you do, because you're fucking brilliant, but I think that you're just too modest and humble to really say, yeah, I did that shit. But you ain't gotta be modest and humble today. You ain't gotta do that today, Shanta.
So I guess it'd be like, I made this shit.
Yes.
It's like, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
Yes.
They're coming to see me.
Yes. No. Yes. Ain't nobody out there coming to see me. They came to see you and you only.
It's like I'm about to start like quoting all the different like things I could think of. It's just like, I built this shit here. You just live here, or whatever it is. Whatever.
Goddamn right.
Trading day.
King Kong ain't got shit on me, which is real, because if King Kong shit on somebody, King Kong's so big, you probably just get buried and die.
Yikes.
Like, I don't know. But yeah, no, I am endlessly amused at what you like. It still just strikes me as funny that the day that I decided to try and quit cursing cold turkey was the day that you were like, fuck it, let's do this shit. I get to cuss now, and it just went from there. And I was like, damn, okay, then if I ain't gonna be the only one who stopped smoking out here, shit. If you gonna keep cussing, I'm gonna keep cussing, and who gonna check me, boo? I think that's how it's said in the inner city areas.
That's what the kids are saying. That's how they get it done.
Yeah, it's what the hep cats are saying. Huh? Yeah, go ahead. There's actually a slice in the car that you didn't take out the car, all the way in the back, passenger side. It's a slice already there. Okay. Gogo's birthday cake was yesterday. So Kid Awesome is like, can I have cake?
Oh yeah, I see the vision.
Yeah, it's like I'll fuck that cake up. My favorite part of cake is when it's a cake that nobody else likes but me.
Ooh, well, so what's the cake that you like that nobody else likes?
Oh, it's so good. So look, I'm so glad you asked. Wait. All right, she did take the car. Godspeed. The cake that I like that I know that nobody else likes because I fucking asked them it's a chocolate cake with strawberry filling, with strawberry preserves, not preserves, but like fresh strawberries and then like strawberry preserves. Anyhow,
sure.
So it's a 2-layer cake. First layer is chocolate cake, and I feel like they have like I'm gonna say the wrong word. I already know. You know when you know you're gonna say the wrong word, but you just can't stop yourself because you can't think of the other word. But it's chocolate cake. Nope, I didn't say the wrong word. Thank you, brain. Fucking brain. It is a chocolate cake infused with strawberries, and then it has a strawberry preserve layer on top of it, and then another chocolate cake on top of it. Again, the cake itself is infused with strawberries, and then there is a strawberry frosting, like a strawberry buttercream frosting over the top of all of it. And then there's like chocolate sprinkles on top of that. And then there's a strawberry in the middle of it. And nobody else likes it but me and maybe Nisha when she's like horny. And not horny for me, I mean horny for cake. There is literally a difference between the two. Like, there are some times where I'll be like, baby, you want some cake? And she'll be like, no, I don't want any. And then there'll be some times where she's like, I want a fucking cake. I need something sweet right now. And those are the days where I'm just like, where'd this come from? Where was this excitement last week when I wanted cake? When I want cake, you never want cake. But as soon as you want cake, I want cake because I'm good either way it goes. I'm always horny for cake. I think that's not a thing yet. I think that should be a thing. Horny for cake. But it is so decadent. It is so good, though. And it goes great with like a vanilla bean ice cream.
Sure. Well, vanilla bean ice cream is just, it's a everything type of ice cream. It's still, you put that with like hot pie, cake. It's just, mwah. I love vanilla bean ice cream.
Vanilla bean ice cream is the Bobby Caldwell of ice cream. That beat goes well with everybody. Like, everybody tries to rap on a Bobby Caldwell beat at some point. Everybody has heard Bobby Caldwell's beat. They just don't know he's white. Yes, I spoiled that for y'all. Bobby Caldwell is white as snow. He is white as snow, and then he is also white as snow because there's a rapper and then there's a weather. They're both white. Look it up. Google it. But yeah, no, made sure I loved it, especially when I found out that the kids are like, that's too much chocolate. Those are the best words. When a kid tells you that it's too much of anything that you like, I'm like, fucking yeah. So last year for, I think it was Kid Awesome's birthday, I got that cake.
Oh, wow. Wow. Really? Like for his birthday? His birthday cake was the chocolate cake with the strawberry preserves. And wow. And that's infusion. Really shady. I would have been tight.
The infusion.
I would have been mad as shit. I would have been so upset because I love cake. I am a very like run of the mill, straight edge kind of cake person. I want white cake. I want white buttercream icing. I don't, whatever you got on top of it, it doesn't matter what color. If you just want to do like pink roses or red roses, I'm not offended. It's fine. Spell my name right. We can get it popping. So for you to have picked a cake that only you like for somebody else's birthday is like really messed up.
But in my defense, it's a really good cake. So, also in my defense part 2, Electric Boogaloo, I paid for it.
Oh, wow.
And if we're going to make this into a trilogy, just in case you're curious to know what happens next, I asked him what kind of cake he wanted, And he was sullenly quiet about it. He was quiet about it in the store. He was quiet about it as I ordered the cake because I was like, okay, I'm not going to wait for you anymore. He was quiet about it when they made the cake. He was quiet about it when I picked up the cake. He was quiet about it when we got back with the cake. He was quiet about it when I took the whole cake and started eating the shit out of that motherfucker. He just wanted ice cream and cake, but the cake was out of the question because by that time I'd already eaten like 3/4 of it, and his mom was looking at the other part because all of a sudden she got horny for cake.
Wow.
Also, why is it a rule that you can't have chocolate cake for your wedding? You should be able to have chocolate. You should be able to have whatever kind of cake you want for your wedding. Is that a rule, or did I just make that up?
I feel it. I didn't realize that was a rule. I didn't realize. Oh, wait. Well, it's okay. I could totally see it not being so much a rule as much as a guideline. Because when I think about people like eating cake or feeding each other cake or even, unfortunately, smashing the cake in each other's faces, which, side note, that means that raises the probability that y'all are going to get a divorce. So you're welcome. Ooh. But, or it's an indicator. It's like one of those little indicators of divorce, whatever. It probably doesn't really hold any weight. But anyway, the cake is typically white. It's typically a white cake when people are eating the cake or sharing the cake or whatever. So maybe that is some kind of rule or guideline or whatever. Because it would never occur to me not to have chocolate cake if that's what you like. Unless maybe somebody has like white wedding cake, because wedding cake is supposed to be white. And then maybe there's like the groomsman cake. Maybe that shit is chocolate or something. It could be whatever somebody wants it to be because it's not about the photograph or whatever.
We here at Single Simulcast aren't racist when it comes to wedding cakes. I mean, if you want to get chocolate cake all over your nice wedding dress, knock yourself the fuck out. I mean, I figure at that point in time, you've probably been running around without your shoes on and looking all slovenly and probably drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon out of a can anyway, you fucking hick. But...
Oh, man. Yikes. This is a different kind of wedding. This is not at the country club now.
It's in the country, else. And it's the club. Club's the KKK.
Oh, it's like we've gone someplace else. We're at the lodge now with the wedding. The wedding's at the lodge.
I'm just saying, some people want to play cornhole on their wedding. I still don't know what the fuck that is. Hold on one second. Okie dokie. Basketball parents calling me about basketball stuff the day before the basketball game. So I would answer, but priorities. Let me see. Wedding cake, Hicks, and Devin. Oh, that reminds me. So today, well, for the past 3 days, this literally has nothing to do with any of the things we were just talking about, but whatever. They have been protesting at Go-Go School, at my daughter's school, for the past 3 days. They've been protesting the administration and the completely archaic rules that they've placed upon the kids in this school year. The kids actually had an issue with them last year and had done a couple of walkouts. And then the administration was like, okay, we will let you write new rules, write us a handbook, and we will adopt that as part of the rules of the school. Mm-hmm. So the juniors last year who are now seniors, that's the way it works unless they didn't make it, at which point they're shunned. Seriously, at that school, they're like, we don't fuck with kids who don't pass. And it's just like, what are you going to do? Well, we're going to let them take every test again until they pass. We got to keep our numbers up. Charter school shit. So, the juniors who are now seniors came together and wrote out some amendments to the handbook. Mm-hmm. turned it in, thought everything was going to be gravity. This was right before they left for the end of the school year last year. Over the summer, while all the kids were at home because of summer, the administration voted to change the rules back to the way that they were before the kids wrote out these amendments. Mm-hmm. They didn't let anybody know that, like as far as students, because fucking why? They just waited till the kids got back to school this year, and then they were like, surprise!
Yep.
Also, the school unionized. Like, the teachers formed a union, which is awesome. Except for the fact that the school then immediately fired all the teachers and told them all that they had to compete for their jobs again. They had to reapply in the whole 9 yards. And while they were reapplying, they hired a bunch of teachers that weren't even certified yet.
Oh, wow.
So they get back to school. The kids get back to school. And the first thing that they find out is that they can't. Their school starts. They have crazy hours for that school. It's like 7:45, 7:30 until like 4 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. It's a long school day. And so Gogo was standing outside of the school on the first day of school, and she was on her phone, and one of the administrators came over to her and said, "You're not allowed to be on your phone." And Gogo was like, "School hasn't started yet." And they were like, "You can't be on the campus on your phone." And Gogo was like, "Well, I'm in front of the school." And they were like, "Well, as soon as you step through those gates, you're on the campus. You can't be on your phone before school starts. If you're on your phone, we're going to take your phone. The second time we take your phone, we're going to keep your phone." And she was like, "Ha ha! My parents told me to tell you they wish you would." And the administrator was like, "Your parents aren't here." And she was like, "Yeah, but I already know what they'd say. They really wish you would."
Yeah.
And so then she went into the school, and she was playing varsity softball last year, and earned her jacket. Well, she didn't earn it per se. We had to go and do a whole bunch of fundraisers so then she could pay for it. But still, it's a nice jacket. She earned her spot on the team, and the jacket she was deserving of the jacket. Walked into the school wearing the jacket and was told that she couldn't wear the jacket that says Sac High varsity softball team on it. Can't wear it because it wasn't Sac High approved. She said, "What's a Sac High approved jacket?" And they said, "Well, you can only wear a jacket that is purchased out of our student store." So the jacket that she got for making the varsity team, the jackets that basketball players got, the jackets that football players got, the jackets that wrestling got, the jackets that the golf team got, they can't wear them to the school that they were representing when they got those jackets. Then she walks into her ethnic studies class, and the ethnic studies teacher accuses her class of stealing the teacher's cell phone.
Oh, no.
The teacher then calls the dean, plural, there's like 4 of them, into the classroom and has them forcibly search everybody's bag to see if the phone was actually in one of their bags. The teacher also accuses Gogo of passing the phone off to one of her friends who's walking through a hallway, because Gogo was standing next to the door. Turns out the phone was in the teacher's lounge. And another teacher found it because it was in the teacher's lounge. And even after the teacher found out that her phone was in the teacher's lounge, she still told the next class who came in that the previous class had stolen her phone. And she lived off that story for the next 3 periods. I know that because Triple came home and told me. He's also in ethnic studies. Or he was, until he got so fed up with the school that he transferred out in his senior year. They have a freshman class, but they can't associate with the freshmen, period. Like, they have the freshmen completely sequestered off from the rest of the school. They call it Freshman Academy, 9th grade academy. And the freshmen have a different lunch. They have a different area. This is the first year that they've done this. Like, they're trying to start, because this administration just started this year, they're trying, it seems like, to keep the freshmen away from the kids who have been there before until the other kids graduate, I guess. I don't really know. I don't know what their logic is on this, because they didn't come out at all during the protest. The students have been asking to speak with the administration. They refuse. There's two people in particular that they're looking to talk to. One is the actual CEO of the school, because again, it's a charter school, so it's not really it's not a public school so much as it is a business, a corporation.
Yeah.
They don't even have a principal in the school. They have 3 division leads. And then the other person they want to talk to is the chair of administration. And neither of them will come out. And when they actually did talk to him, they said that they will allow 4 of the students to come for a meeting. But then the stuff that they brought to the meeting, the stuff that the administration brought to the meeting, wasn't concessions. It was, this is what we're demanding that y'all do. And the students were like, no, we're good. And they walked back out. So they're on the 3rd day of protesting. And I went up there today to bring Gogo something to eat and bring some of her friends something to eat. And it was so just job powerful. Because people spend so much time shitting on this generation.
Yeah.
Like, so much time. Like, blaming them for everything when they don't even have a choice in it. Saying that they're lazy. Saying that they do this, that, and the third. And these kids who are being threatened by the administration. The administration is saying if you continue to protest, you're kicked off of whatever sports team you're on. They told the student body president who was out there that they will strip her of her position. They have told all of the kids that they won't be able to make up any work that they missed while they were protesting, and that they'll be marked truant. They've called home the parents and left voicemails for parents, like thinking that the parents may not know what's going on, saying your kid was marked absent today, and while we're willing to forgive them for stepping out during this time, they need to do this, that, and the third. The teacher from ethnic studies called home to see if Gogo was still going to be in her class. Oh, she got read up and down the block for that one, because we hadn't gotten a chance to talk to her about the whole accusation thing. And this happened like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. So this is the first time we got to talk to her. So she got the blues from myself and Nisha. But they were out there. Student-run protests. High schoolers. Seniors, juniors, sophomores. Some freshmen escaped and came out to stand with them. They had adult advocates who it came from other places, alliances and stuff like that, who were just like the Black Lives Matter Sacramento, because this is a predominantly black school being taught by all white people who are judging the students before they even step into their class. Yeah. Based on the way that they walk or on the way that they talk. But you don't want the kids to talk. You don't want to learn anything from them. You just want to tell them what to do. And so, hold on one second. I know I said that a lot today, but I took video because it was just so important to me that we recognize and that everybody sees, first of all, if these kids are doing this. Like, we've all been kids, so we all know just how scary it is for kids to stand up and say something against adults who are literally bullying them by saying we've got the power. So for these kids to stand up and do this, to be accounted and be heard, it was magic. It was straight up magic. Hold on one second.
We have Isabella coming, to the center to talk about 3 solutions and 3 issues, y'all. But she don't need a mic. She don't need a microphone. You know how she is, y'all. Let's give it up. Let's give it up.
Yeah, they know Gogo. They like, she don't need no microphone. Y'all know how she is. But
what's your family member? What's your family member?
Hey, y'all, I'm mad.
Why you mad?
Because why are the 9th graders separated from us, but they still had a shadow day? I took time out of my life last year to show the 8th graders what school was going to look like, and they didn't get any of that. So the solution to that, honestly, there ain't nothing else except open up the doors and let them come through. Yes. Y'all, I'm still mad.
Why you mad?
College track is this program that they have where you have to apply to get in. It's like a rigorous interviewing program that you have to. They only let like 30 kids into it per class.
Mm-hmm.
The classes have like 400, 500 students in it. Well, no, maybe like 350, 400 students in them. Only 30 kids get in. When they get in, they get walked through SAT prep, ACT prep. They get counseling to bring their grades up and maintain their grades. They get tutoring and all this kind of stuff to make sure that they are on track for college. Once they get into college, college track stays with them through college to make sure that they are still on the right track towards success. The other 270, 200, or 320 kids who don't get into college track, they're like you're on your own. We don't have the resource to help you out. We don't have the time to help you do what you need to do to be great. We're a college preparatory school, but we're not going to prepare you for college. And so that's another thing that the kids were standing up about. It was just so dynamic, and I am so proud of those kids. Like, the news came out today, and they were like, hey, do you want to be on the news? And I was like, no. This is not, you don't need to hear my voice. You need to hear their voices. But they had told the kids that if they stepped off of school grounds, they'd be immediately marked truant and get suspended. So the student body president finally walked off the grounds of the school and went to do an interview. It was so powerful, Shanta. I was so proud of those kids.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I just hope that I hope that the other kids see, because there were kids who weren't involved, obviously, but that these kids are risking everything for them. Like, it's not just for themselves, it's for all of the kids. Like, they're standing together so strong and so tough. And I don't know if those kids recognize this, what's being done for them.
Hopefully they do. And even if I think they'll get it. Everybody doesn't always, there's always got to be those first people that come out first, that are out front and maybe take the lumps for everybody else. But them seeing it is probably nothing but good for them. Because maybe when the next time comes, whether it's for this school or whether it's for something else, they'll be able to tell themselves that I'm going to go out, I'm going to go stand outside too, for this thing. Maybe I didn't catch it this last time, but I get it now. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to go stand with, my peers for this issue.
Mm-hmm. So, in another complete... Mac Miller passed away today.
Yeah.
From a drug overdose. Prayers up, condolences to his family. I've been told that I haven't heard enough of his music to state unequivocally that he's a great artist, but the music that I heard was really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, on average, I could say 1 out of 1 Derricks think Mac Miller has had a promising career ahead of him. He passed away today, and immediately, like as soon as he passed on and news got out, people started attacking Ariana Grande.
Yes.
Now, for those of y'all who aren't sure about why I'm saying this like this, it's because Ariana Grande's had a really shitty week. Between getting felt up by the pastor at Aretha Franklin's eulogy or funeral, getting ogled by Jesse Jackson and Bill Clinton, and then getting her name made fun of by that same punk-ass pastor, and then this. It's been a really rough week. Like, even if you aren't with somebody, when you lose somebody that you loved, I would expect that it's a tough thing to process.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not made any easier by people saying that she's the reason that he died. he died because she broke up with him. Folks are saying, like, just horribly abusive things. And the gist of it all is just that they're saying that it's all her fault. Why aren't you saying something? Why aren't you taking blame for it? And it's like, why are guys, why are men so fucking shitty? Like, and I'm not even sure if it's just men on this one. Why are fans so fucking shitty?
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, because it's probably, you know, all kinds of different people who say that they're fans of Mac Miller being shitty to Ariana Grande, making it to the point where she closed her Instagram comments because people were being so abusive and shitty. So, yeah, it's all kinds of people who are being completely out of pocket, you know, and whatever other, you know, negative word you want to put on them. When, you know, it's one of those things, like with the larger issue of people thinking, you know, as far as like relationships between women and men, you know, and not necessarily just romantic relationships, but if a woman is in the vicinity of a man, she has to take responsibility for him, you know. So obviously Ariana Grande was Mac Miller's ex-girlfriend, so she is supposed to take responsibility for him. But if she had been a relative of some sort, she probably could have just as easily be getting this kind of abuse, you know, because she should have taken care of him. She should have cared more. She should have done this, you know, whatever, you know, like if they had a falling out as relatives or something, people would still just as easily light her up, try to light up her social media and, you know, disparage her and be mean to her, because it's like people think that women have a responsibility to men, even though, you know, men are their own people, mm-hmm. and they deal with their own things as men, you know, their own issues, their own problems, you know, and there's the high probability that if Mac Miller was here to talk about what was going on with him, I doubt that he would blame Ariana Grande. Mm-hmm. It never seemed like he had any ill will toward her. You know, not that we know anything personally, but I mean, all you have is social media, and it just never seemed like he had any problem with her. It just seemed like it was two people that had a relationship. It went how it went, and then, you know, they broke up. Because like young people do, you know, young people get together and they're together for a while, or maybe it's a long while, maybe it's a short while, and they break up. And sometimes it's sad, but they're okay as far as that's concerned. But people are taking this like way, 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 way left.
I always wonder, like, when people do this kind of stuff, like when they drink the entire pitcher of Kool-Aid, do they wake up with a hangover? Like the next day when all the adrenaline is gone and it's just like you're sitting there thinking about what you did, do you feel bad? Or do you feel accomplished?
It's probably both. Side note, we should stop saying the Kool-Aid thing as a, you know, that's a Jonestown reference, and that's one of those, it's one of those phrases that people say that we should take out of our vocabulary because of the whole situation and everything. I think there's some people who will wake up at some point and they'll think back and they'll be like, man, I really shouldn't have tweeted what I tweeted or commented the way I commented toward that person. And I really fucked up by thinking that somehow, because my comment might be among a million comments, that maybe that person didn't see my particular comment, but I added to the vitriol that person had to go through, and that person didn't deserve it, you know, as far as Ariana Grande or anybody. I think some people when they look back on how they've conducted themselves on social media towards different celebrities on behalf of their person that they really like. They look back and they say like, oh man, I shouldn't have did that shit. I think there's other people though who are just like, they feel how they feel and they don't care.
I said what I said. I gotta figure out something different to say instead of follow the crowd.
Yeah,
that'll work. I will strive to introduce that one into the vernacular. That's not the word I was thinking of. See, it was gonna happen. It was gonna come back. It was like, you know what? I let you get away with that whole infused thing. I had to stop and think about the word again. But it's unfortunate for all parties. Well, not all parties. Well, yeah, all parties, because the fans are mourning. I'll give them that.
Mm-hmm.
The fans are mourning, and I will say that I do know that people do sometimes lash out in moments of severe grief.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not walking it any further than that. Do better. Like, I'm not asking y'all to be like the classiest people in the world, but really? Like, y'all just don't think that she's mourning too?
Right. I mean, that's really what it is. It's just like, how is she not part of your group? You know, as far as that's concerned, as far as somebody who cared about Mac Miller, enjoyed his presence, you know, possibly, you know, loved him. But no, she is on the outside and must be, you know, figuratively, you know, whatever, you know, verbally annihilated.
Because she's famous. Famous people can take it, right? Right? Oh, man. It just, I don't know. I don't know. I know Stephanie wrote a bang-up article, like absolutely phenomenal article about Nicki Minaj.
Mm-hmm.
And how people came after a lady who simply said that Nicki Minaj started rapping about more mature stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget it was, but I think she's Wanna World on Twitter. On Twitter. And just posted the most, like, run-of-the-mill kind of critique. Like, and that's not a diss or anything. It's just, like, I think it's a critique that lots of people will put to an artist that they think has become kind of stagnant. You know, it's just like, it was such a run-of-the-mill critique, and it turned into just this mess because of, like, the inner working blog artist relationship that you wouldn't even think would be a thing. You know, you wouldn't even think that some blog would almost be that beholden, you know, like really beholden, like not even like kind of beholden in their heads, but like a relationship, like a real relationship where the artist calls the person that runs the blog and is like, this person's got to go. And then the blog fires the person.
When you got that kind of power, when you got that, and I mean, people getting fired is like almost a common occurrence now on Facebook, on Twitter. Like, somebody says something dumb, outlandish, out of line, and then folks are like, let's find them, let's get them fired. Okay, that's one thing. But when you are a star of Nicki Minaj's level, you are able, I see, to get somebody fired for something that really wasn't even, in my opinion, egregious. Like, the way that she was like, let her go, and they really followed through and was like, okay, we'll fire her, feels like a wrongful termination lawsuit waiting to happen. Like,
yeah, you would think, but she was an intern, so I don't even know what that kind of. I think she was an unpaid intern, so I don't even know what kind of recourse like an intern would even have as far as being, fired in that kind of a situation.
Me neither. Interns need a union. They're not going to get one, but it'll be nice. We'll be right back. This Single Simulcast.
This is Rainbow, and you're listening to Single Simulcast with Rashani and Shanta Fabulous. Remember, put a coaster under that.
This is Jarman, a.k.a. Shantae's brother. You listen to Single Simulcast. Favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. I like listening to it. Hopefully you like listening to it. Enjoy.
This is JV, and you're listening to Single Simulcast.
What's up, everybody? This is Classic, CEO and co-founder of the CSPN Network. And when I'm not working on the many podcasts on our network or just hanging out, I'm listening to Single Simulcast, and so should you.
I'm awesome, and you're listening to Single Simulcast.
That was simply sensational. Single Simulcast shall surely surface speedily. Bitches.
Hey everybody, this is Gerald Jones from Buy Black Podcast, the voice of black business, where we interview black business owners to help you get to know them, to help them teach you a little something, and for all of us to do a little bit more to support black business owners and the black economy. You guys are listening to Single Simulcast with Shanta and Rashani, and I appreciate every minute I get to spend with these folks. I know y'all do too. Keep listening.
Hello, this is Stephanie from the Mocha Minutes Podcast. If you can hear my voice, that means you're tuning in to two of my faves, Rashani and Shanta Fabulous of the Single Simulcast. Congrats! You made a really good choice today. You want to make another good choice? Check me out on the Mocha Minutes Podcast. You won't be disappointed. If you're tuning in to the Single Simulcast, you're going to love the Mocha Minutes Podcast too. You can find the Mocha Minutes Podcast wherever you find your podcasts. Would love to have you tune in. Okay. Bye.
Hi, this is your man Jeremy from the Crown of College Podcast, and you are listening to Single Simulcast with my man Rashani and Shanta Fabulous, your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster. And I'm your favorite podcaster, so that should be your favorite podcaster, because I'm your fave, and your fave's fave. Check them out on Single Simulcast, and check out Crown of College, found wherever you can find great podcasts and the CSPN network.
Like makeup, interested in mental health, check out lithiumtolashes.com, where I talk about my own everyday struggles with mental health and beat my face from time to time. This is Single Simulcast.
Hey everybody, this is Wormhole Matt with the Planet Wormhole Podcast. Please follow me and my wife Rachel at Get Off My Planet. We are going to be talking about a lot of great stuff on Planet Wormhole, so please check us out. Thank you very much for having us on the show. The Single Simulcast, your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. It's also my favorite podcast because, I'll be honest, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but you guys have really embraced me, and I love you for it. So thank you very much.
Hi, this is Deshaun, a.k.a. Big Boy 1077 from Spit That Ish Podcast. It's a sports podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and that's about it. We've been doing it for 5 weeks now. It's pretty awesome. I have a co-host named Justin. We talk about everything current in sports. And thanks to Rashani, and this is Single Simulcast.
My name is Jordan Redfield Wade.
Well. If it isn't the so-called People's Champion,
By day, I'm a philanthropist and private investigator.
You risked your own life to try and protect someone who needed it. If that's what's needed to be a hero, then I want to help.
But by night, I protect the people of Newark City in a different way.
My name, champ, is Red Wing.
Do I need to count the sheer number of felonies you committed today?
As she lay dying, I promised my mother that I would fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. And I refused to let her down.
I would do anything to keep you safe, you know that, anything.
Even murder?
If that's what it took, then yes.
I am the defender of Newark City.
Justice is not something you can manufacture.
I am Red Wing.
Single Simulcast, episode 315. Shantae's here. She's been here for 100 episodes, y'all. I don't get it either. But I think it's because of the awesome audience that we have, the listeners, the support, the interactions, and things of that nature. Because, I mean, I'm dope, but I'm not. I mean, so earlier today, or actually yesterday was Thursday, today's Friday. That's the way that the days of the week work in America. A black man was shot and killed by a officer in Dallas after she walked into his apartment and thought that he broke in, and so she shot him. The reason why my voice sounds like that is because this shit don't make no sense. Like, even when I read the story, it doesn't make sense. But I'm going to read the story. A Dallas officer faces a manslaughter charge. That's all they're giving her, not murder. Mm-hmm. This wasn't murder. This was all just an accident. After she fatally shot a 26-year-old man whose apartment near downtown she apparently mistook for her own. Quote, "This is a very unique situation, you think?" Police Chief Renee Hall said at a news conference on Friday afternoon. "We have ceased handling it under our normal officer-involved shooting protocol." The Texas Rangers, not the baseball team, and not Chuck Norris either, but the real ones, have been called in to conduct an independent investigation, the chief added. Hall said police were obtaining a warrant to charge the officer, whom the chief declined to name until she was formally charged. The chief said the officer's blood was drawn to test for blood or for alcohol and drugs. For some reason, they felt like they needed to say this part. The unnamed officer wasn't hurt in the incident. Which happened about 10 p.m. on Thursday in a location which is just blocks from the police headquarters in the Cedars. Police officials say she arrived at the complex after working a full shift. Oh, she was tired. She was sleepy. That's like she was sleepy, and she wasn't hurt, people. She was sleepy at 10 p.m. when he was probably sleepy too. She was still in full uniform when she entered the victim's apartment thinking it was hers. Like, the first hint that it wasn't yours is when your key doesn't work. Mm-hmm. The second hint that it isn't yours is when the key doesn't work twice because you tried in the top lock and the bottom lock. And if neither one of those things register for you, you might be drunk, but the fourth thing that'll register for you is when you go in the house and realize, ain't none of this shit mine. That's not my face in those pictures. Unless I became a 26-year-old black man. This is. I'm gonna go look in the refrigerator. If the turkey that I was cooking yesterday is still in there, nope, it's not there. Okay.
Yeah.
The victim was identified as Botham Shin John, a native of the Caribbean nation of St. Lucia and an employee at PricewaterhouseCoopers in Dallas. He was a graduate of Harding University in Arkansas, where he had been a beloved worship leader. University officials mourned during their chapel services on Friday morning. Spokeswoman Jana Rucker said the university was deeply grieved and that Jean was one of those people who really stood out with his voice and his leadership. The Dallas police chief said she has talked to Jean's family after the shooting and reassured them that we are working diligently. The officer who shot John is white, and Jean said she wondered whether the outcome would have been different if her son hadn't been black. Quote, I don't want to judge her. We are Christians. We forgive, she said, but I need to look into her eyes and ask why she did that to my son. She took away my heart, my soul. He didn't deserve to die. So as far as I can tell with the update, she got charged with manslaughter.
Yeah, that makes sense. Unfortunately, as far as like, it's not like, you know, it's not like she premeditated it, so it's not like she's gonna get murder one.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just wish she'd get more though. I know that, like, the way you laid it out is absolutely spot on as usual, but selfishly, you know.
Oh yeah, like I worked, like what, like I used to, like when the story broke and it came out, and it was just like they said that there was going to be a warrant for her arrest, and it was just like, okay, this is probably going to be manslaughter because of the situation and everything. It's not going to be murder one, and so then it's just like, okay, it's manslaughter, and they are going to arrest her, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, are they going to arrest her and then let her go home of her own reconnaissance kind of thing? You know, are they going to hold her? Are they going, if this goes to trial, you know, is she, you know, are they going to try the case as like, okay, here's this police officer who, you know, they're going to talk about how police work is a hard job. She was on the job for a long time. They're going to be, you know, as far as like the day and everything was concerned, and they're going to talk about how stressful it is, and they're going to be all sympathetic to her to a point where instead of her having to do any jail time, you know, she might get probation.
Mm-hmm.
She might get, you know, something. She might get it suspended. She might, you know, whatever thing that she could get to keep her from being in jail, they're going to give it to her.
Yeah.
And that's what, I think that's what sucks. And I know that my feeling of the possibility that she is going to walk in some sort of way, you know, whether it's literally walk in the sense that this is going to go to trial and she is not going to be found guilty, you know, or they're going to figure out a way to make this okay for her or whatever, just some, you know, legal finagling. I know it's because there's so many instances where it seems cut and dry, and that police officer doesn't go to jail.
And it's hard to see it from both sides. I mean, it's not hard to see it from both sides. You just don't want to see it from both sides. I can see why police and law enforcement and lawyers and everybody would be hesitant to send a police officer to jail. But I feel like if you sent just like 5 of them to jail and you let just the chips fall where they may, nobody else would want to do it. Like if they knew that they could really go to jail for it, or if they knew that the money that they would have to pay for restitution actually came out of their own wallet, anything, they probably wouldn't stop. But it's a great dream, you know. We got too many black folks being shot in the back, and too many black people just being absolutely innocent but being held culpable. The cops never really get held. They never get their feet put to the fire. There's always an explanation. It was 10 o'clock. She had worked a full shift. It was dark. We don't know what he did. He's no angel. He might have attacked her, which I would have.
Yeah. Like, there's so many... It's all unfortunate, and the possibility that she might be able to get away with this in some kind of way. is like, so if it feels so high that it's kind of just like, this is just going to be another person. This is just going to be another police officer who kills somebody without any like forethought. And it's just going to be okay as far as the powers that be are concerned.
We need new powers.
Yeah. And that should scare people. I think that's what I don't get, or maybe well, it's not so much that I don't get it, but it's just like it should scare people how easy a police officer can kill somebody and not get in trouble. But I know the reason why it doesn't scare people is partly because they don't think it can be them. And then depending on who the person is, like if it's a white person, they probably think that person did something anyway. That person deserved it. They never think that person who, was handcuffed and died somehow by a gunshot wound, well, shouldn't have been handcuffed, shouldn't have ran away. They must have did something. Whatever the situation is, they've got an excuse for it.
For your 100th episode, this is the kind of stuff that the world is bringing us. Early Sunday morning, a black female off-duty Baltimore police officer was beaten by a uniformed male white police officer after cops responded to a disorderly conduct call outside of a Baltimore strip club. Onlookers pulled out their cell phones to record the altercation. Quote, "We looked up and the police were striking a female, full force, full impact." Female. A witness stated to WBAL TV. "He wasn't arresting her. He threw that lady around like she was a rag doll," the witness continued. During the altercation, witnesses attempted to inform the unidentified white cop that the woman he was beating was a cop also, but apparently that didn't help. The female officer has been identified as Baltimore Police Sergeant Henrietta Middleton, and she was subsequently arrested and charged with drunk and disorderly conduct. Baltimore police issued a statement about the incident. Quote, "When officers arrived, they noticed the patron acting in a disorderly manner. The female patron approached an officer and refused to comply. She was arrested and charged on criminal citation for drunk and disorderly conduct. She was identified as Henrietta Middleton and is currently being assigned to the Inspector General's office." But there's no word on whether or not the white officer will face any type of punishment for brutally beating her in front of witnesses.
Yeah, he probably won't. And that, the saga continues, basically. Like, he's probably, if he was going to get in trouble, he probably would have. And he is probably not going to get in trouble, and they're probably going to blame her. And what's so fucked up about it, though, is that I feel like if it was a different situation and it was a dude, but if it was a white dude, the white dude probably would have been able to say, "I'm a police officer," and probably wouldn't have got arrested. If the white dude is out there kind of acting wild, and the police show up, he'll be able to say, like, "Look, I'm Baltimore PD, blah, 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 blah." And, cooler heads would have prevailed. But the possibility that here it is, white police officers and going after, a black woman, they're ready. They are, police officers are trained to antagonize and harm black people and other people of color. So, and you can quote me on that, and if you have anything to say about it, you can hit me up at singlesimulcast@gmail.com, and you can hit me on Twitter at Shanta Fabulous. You can holler at me, but I will not move off of that. They are trained, police officers are trained to antagonize and harm black people and other people of color.
You know what's funny? There's going to be somebody who's going to be like, I beg to differ.
I hope not.
It never fails to surprise me.
Because I might block you. I might not, you might say what you want to say, and I might not even respond. It ain't no debate. How about that?
How about that? And while it's on my mind, saw the Colin Kaepernick commercial from Nike. Read about how Colin Kaepernick is working with Nike, and he's the face of the new Just Do It campaign that they have. Wonderful idea. Colin's been working for him since 2011, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So not anything new. It's just he's their new face, which is dope. I heard a thing on The Daily Show where Trevor Noah laid out exactly what I was thinking, which is more or less people are politicizing?
That's a word.
It is a word, right? I just want to...
Yeah.
Okay, I missed Jay. Jay would have been like, no, or yeah. So, okay, thank you, Shanta. Politicizing brands. With all these people burning their shoes and all that kind of stuff, and all these people saying that they're going to buy Nike because Nike is standing up for Black Lives Matter or standing behind Colin Kaepernick and his ongoing protests or ongoing situation. That is politicizing the brand. People are now also saying that New Balance is a Trump or white supremacist shoe because the vice president of New Balance said a couple of years ago that they agreed with Trump's trans America, whatever the plan was that he came out with. But that is very dangerous to politicize brands because brands are almost notoriously fickle.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trevor Adams, one of the homies, heard a podcast by Howard Bryant from ESPN that mentioned that Nike, while having Colin Kaepernick as the face of their brand, and Colin Kaepernick stands against police brutality and against police murdering black folks.
Mm-hmm.
Nike also still offers a 10% discount for law enforcement officers. So, in essence, they're supporting both sides quietly. Like, one side they're supporting loudly and very overtly. But the other side, they're still, quietly like, hey, we'll still take your money. And I think that that's what we need to remember while we're saying that Nike is such a good company for doing this, is they'll still take your money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like when I was discussing this earlier with Jarman, was basically like, we have to be careful thinking that using our money to put it in a corporation, basically, capitalism, we are receiving a good from someone who is providing it, and giving them money. We have to be careful in thinking that that is activism. That is not activism. Just because Nike has Colin Kaepernick out front does not mean that from the top to the bottom they wholeheartedly agree with what he's doing. They could just as easily pay him, receive black dollars, and then a CEO, when they get their bonus, or whoever it is, whatever the executive is, that CEO can turn around and give that money to some Republican candidate that wants to get rid of abortion, that wants to turn over Roe v. Wade. So that is not, I feel like if you fuck with Nike, like if that's your shoe, then let that be your shoe. Mm-hmm. Regardless, that's your shoe. You know, they got the right size. It feels good on your arch and all that shit, you know, on your instep, whatever. That's your shoe, you know, but turning it into, you know, I'm gonna buy these shoes to spite these white people or whatever, you know, whether it's like, you know, actual white people, you know, in your workplace or whatever, or just figuratively, you know, like the motherfuckers who's cutting their socks and making them slouchy and shit and cutting a Nike swoosh off their shorts and looking like idiots. Don't do that. That's not what you need to do. You would be better off, like, I feel like if you want to participate in activism, there are lots of websites, lots of people who are doing things, whether they're like in your community or people who you could get in contact with in other communities that are doing things that you could take that $150 that you might spend on some shoes because you think it's like, you know, you want to support Colin Kaepernick. You know, you could support what his goal is by supporting somebody else, by supporting you know, whatever program, whatever person. You know, you could go and put, you know, you could go to a child, you know, go to a school and say, like, look, I got $150, you know, when the book fair comes, and put some money on some kids to get a book at the book fair. You know, whatever that thing is. Don't buy some sneakers thinking that, you know, you got your fists in the air. Mm-hmm. Like, just bought some fucking sneakers, nigga. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Like, when you buy the sneakers, you expect, like, 5 white people to just descend out the sky from Nike talking about, and we fox with one another. It's like, it's not like that.
Hell, or even white people to scowl at you as you walk, you know, like you walking in your new little Nikes, you
like
know,
they're
with
fucking
your white
vampires
soles.
and your blade and shit, just like,
like, no, don't do that.
How dare you? Like, that's my vampire recoil voice. Like you're walking down the street, your new LeBron, and everyone's like, no, it's not gonna be like that. Nobody's gonna give a fuck. Honestly, like all these people who have burnt up Nike stuff, cut up Nike stuff, peeled off Nike stuff, and all that. These are the folks who are the same dumbasses who bought CDs so they could run over them in the 90s. And what else have people done recently? Wasn't there something going on with coffee where they were buying coffee machines and then breaking them just to prove a point?
Oh man, I don't know if that happened. I know people were mad about the Starbucks cups.
No, it was Keurig
and everything.
It was
okay.
Alex Jones, I believe, had said something like, no, it was what's the other one's name? Not Alex Jones, but the other white dude who's on Fox, who's just as bad. Not Hannity. The fuck is that dude's name? He was beefing with Ludacris for a while there. Just a white dude, older white dude. Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, okay.
Bill O'Reilly had said something about Keurigs. And so people started buying the coffee machine just to break the coffee machine. And they were one of his sponsors. It was right after he got hit up for sexual harassment.
Oh, okay.
And they were one of his sponsors. And they were like, we're no longer going to fuck with you. So they started breaking up their machines. And instead of saying, ha, motherfucker, you're buying our machines just to break them, they apologized. I think that was dumb. Yeah. I think people buying shoes just to support a movement is dumb. I think people opposing shoes just to support a movement is dumb. But I think that in this day and age that we're in, people are still going to do it.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And it may not be because they want to do it in their heart. Like, they may not have a dog in the fight at all. But enough of the people on their timeline have something to say that they feel like they need to have a voice as well, even if their voice is just an echo of somebody else's voice. I don't know. Just look, when it comes to buying Nikes or buying Reebok or buying New Balance or buying whoever you want, just do it. I think that's what it comes down to, for real. Don't think about what anybody else is going to say about your shoes, because real talk, I don't look at people's shoes. I don't care enough. If I'm looking down at your shoes, that means your breath stinks and I don't want to look up.
Oh no. Yikes.
So, rock what you want to rock. Fuck it. Wear Stacey Adams sandals. I don't care. Those are hard anyway. Them JC Cruisers that are like all nice and got the little snap in the back and all that. Those are cool for the summer.
Yeah, another thing as far as Nike and the possibility that they're against racism, because I do feel like that's where it kind of veers off into that area. Mm-hmm. I think they're still making like Chief Wahoo stuff and Redskins gear. Sorry for saying, I should have said that team in Washington, but yeah, they're still making, and that's racist. Like that's racist too. So be wary of how and why you're putting your support behind whatever you're putting your support behind, because they ain't always all the way as far as you think they are.
All shoe folk ain't yo cool folk. I don't know. A Cincinnati police officer. Whoa. Let me pull that plug real quick because that ad came out of nowhere. Didn't want to hear that. Since a Cincinnati police officer tased an 11-year-old girl accused of shoplifting, telling her, quote, "This is why there's no grocery stores in the black community," after putting her in handcuffs.
Yikes. Like the security guard said this?
No, it was a police officer.
The police officer said it. The police. See, that's what like harm and antagonize. Like that's what they're trained to do.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking to see right now if there was anything further that happened to this guy or this person, but nope. Let's see. There's video footage, but I don't want to see it. The video shows the officer Kevin Brown apprehending the girl at a Kroger supermarket where he was working a security gig on August 6th and taking her into an office. He asked the girl about items in her backpack. I feel like we did a story on this. I feel like we read this back in like early August when it first started, but maybe not. He asked the girl about items in her backpack that he said were stolen. Quote, "This is why there aren't any grocery stores in the black community," he said. Both he and the young lady are black. The comment violated departmental rules against racial prejudice, according to the internal review, which was also released this week. Officer Brown violated 3 other rules by using the stun gun in the first place, not warning her that he was going to do so, and not turning on his body camera until after the fact, the review found. The investigators determined that Officer Brown's deployment of a taser was not reasonably necessary to apprehend her, the review said. His police powers have been suspended pending a departmental hearing, according to the union which is representing him. After the hearing, the police chief will decide what, if any, disciplinary action should be taken. Pretty certain that he's going to get fired. And they're going to use this as, see? We're learning.
Yeah.
And while I'm happy that he's going to likely be fired, it's like, okay. That's like a helping. The smallest helping possible that you can give somebody off of this plate. We don't want the helping. We want the whole plate. Give us more. That's how I feel about it. What are your thoughts, Shanta?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're probably, yeah, like you said, they're going to use this, possibly as saying, like, look, we're doing what we're supposed to do. We hear you, that kind of thing. But, I mean, the problem is that this child did not deserve to be tased. And that can't be taken back. that experience can't be taken back. You know, and the trauma of it, you know, the trauma of it, her immediate trauma, the trauma of her family, the trauma of the community, you know, none of that can be taken back. You know, you can't fix that with, you know, this guy getting fired. And that's what's so messed up. Like it's like you say, it's like the smallest kind of helping that you could get. But it's not going to fill you up. It may not even taste like anything.
Mm-hmm. And it might taste bitter.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to realize you're trying to serve them this while you got this in the background. You could have served us this on a platter. Nigga, this is Cincinnati. I'm sure that there's a lot of folks who have been fucked over by police in Cincinnati. Because it's Ohio. And just a little ways away, people are still waiting for the cop who murdered Tamir to go on in. Let me see here. We already talked about Nike, but that's still funny. A job has said that all Nike branded products are now banned from this place of employment. Starting on September 10th, all employees wearing Nike branded products will be sent home to change. Beginning on September 17th, this will be a zero tolerance policy. And at first I was mad. Initially.
Right.
But then I was like, this is a privately owned business. They can do whatever they want. And the shitty thing about it is, if they're doing this, this probably wasn't the type of place the people who wore Nikes wanted to work at in the first place. And see, I'm saying that like only black folks wear Nikes, but that's not true. It's just probably a place where black folks didn't really want to be at in the first place.
Sure.
It just sounds really inherently horrible that somebody would say, we're going to look at your shoes every time you walk in here. We're going to look at your clothes. We're going to look at your jacket, whatever, your hat. And if you're wearing any of that, you are going to be sent home, I guess? Written up? Fired? And it's not wrongful termination because they own the place. And there's probably no union. Because the union would have laughed your ass out of the building for coming up with something like this. But this is how people feel. Like, I don't know. People get madder about shoes than they do about shootings.
Yep.
Like, seriously. In the span, and I'm not saying this like Hoteps be saying it, where they're like, you can't concentrate on more than one thing. In the span of the last 2 weeks, I think, 3 transgender women were murdered. 2 black men that I know of were murdered. 1 here in Sacramento. Again. I believe he was in a backyard. Again. My daughter's school is going completely down the shitter. Kids are leaving the school in their senior year. But let's be mad about shoes. I really have nothing else to say about it than that. I do have something to say about this, though. So, Aretha Franklin passed away.
Mm-hmm.
They did the funeral late last week?
Yeah. I think it was
either late last week or early this week.
Yeah, it was late last week. It was last week, I think. I think it was Thursday or Friday.
Okay. So it was like a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
1 million people spoke, 1 million people sang. Like I said, there was one pastor who said horrible things about Ariana Grande. We're not talking about that pastor right now. We're just talking about the church as a whole. Church's assholes. The other pastor who was up there, Jasper Williams Jr., took time out, and I just want to point out again that people, I don't know if y'all know this yet, but a funeral for black pastors is like the fucking Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Funerals, Christmas, Easter. That is Super Bowl and WrestleMania all wrapped into one for black pastors. For pastors, probably, but I know black pastors because I don't know too many white pastors. You got to understand how that works. Probably Hispanic pastor, too. I don't know any. Well, I know one. I know one Hispanic pastor, and I know a couple Asian pastors, and they don't do this. Just black pastors and maybe white pastors. I don't know. I don't know too many white pastors. But this pastor, Reverend Jasper Williams Jr., said during his eulogy of Aretha Franklin, he was talking about children being born in a home without a father, called them an abortion after birth.
Mm-hmm.
He also said that black lives do not matter unless black people stop killing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Aretha Franklin's family said on Monday that it found his eulogy to be offensive and distasteful. Quote, he spoke for 50 minutes and at no time did he properly eulogize her. Franklin said that his aunt never asked Williams to do so, since she doesn't talk about her plans for her own funeral. The family selected Williams because he has spoken at other family memorials in the past, most prominently at the funeral for Franklin's father, minister and civil rights activist C.L. Franklin 34 years ago. Williams has not backed down from anything he said at the funeral and said he respects the family's opinion. I understand it, he said. I regret it, but I'm sorry they feel that way. Besides a social media uproar, Williams heard resistance at the funeral itself. Singer Stevie Wonder yelled out Black Lives Matter after the pastor said no, Black lives do not matter during his eulogy. Williams had minimized the Black Lives Matter movement because of black-on-black crime. Quote, black lives must not matter until black people start respecting black lives and stop killing ourselves. He also said, quote, there are not fathers in the home no mo, and said that a black woman cannot raise a black boy to be a man. Some people suggested that that was disrespectful of Aretha Franklin, who was a single mother of 4 boys. Let me tell you something about the black church. The black church, which spawned me, so take that as you will as I say what I'm about to say. The black church is some of the most judgmental people in a collective that you will meet. But those judgmental people are led by one judgmental person who sets the tone. If a pastor were to get up in front of his flock and say, I do not approve of this. I do not approve of homosexual people, LGBTQIA people being kept from the church. I don't approve of people being judged by the clothing that they wear. I don't approve of this, this, and this. 2 things will happen. The people who do approve of that will leave because that pastor's not going to change their mindset. And the people who rock with him would stay, and the church would get stronger in his lead, in their lead. So my mindset is the black church is horrible because of black pastors. Black pastors are the ones who are endorsing all of the horrible stuff that black churches do and say. They're the ones who are making it seem like women shouldn't be on the pulpit. They're the ones who are using racism and latent misogyny to talk badly about single black women. They are the ones who are using couples counseling to dirty mac on black women and women in the church as a whole. They're the ones juking you out of your cash. They're the ones telling you all the time that you're going to go to hell simply because of how you dress or because you masturbate. It's the pastors, the leaders, the shepherds. The ones who have lost sight of what God actually wants them to do because this is what they want to do. God tells them to do this, but they want to go out and do hood rat stuff with their friends. At your brightest moment, in front of an audience of at least millions.
Sure.
At least. You took time out to insult black women, single black mothers, and black people who are in situations that may lead to them being impoverished and therefore lead to an uptick of crime against other black people. Nobody ever mentions white on white crime. I'm not even going to talk about Eminem and all these other white rappers beefing right now. I'm not going to talk about every single soccer and basketball game that I've been to where a fight breaks out includes or involves two drunk white fathers, always, or white mom fighting a white father. I'm not going to say any of that. I'm just going to say this dude was out of pocket. The other pastor was out of pocket. This is the perfect time for black folks to see that the black church is full of shit. And it starts with the leadership and trickles down. Shanta, got any shout outs or anything?
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who listens to the show and shares the show and hasn't stopped, hasn't stopped listening since I've been on for these last 100 episodes. So shout out to you.
They actually wouldn't stop because of you. They like you. You're the strawberry infusion in their chocolate cake.
Oh wait, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Being on being a leader on this show. Like, I appreciate you. I am learning things about myself through interacting with you, through watching you interact with other people. So I appreciate you. I love you. I am so glad to be on this show. I have I think you were, I always get confused whether it was you or Classic who asked me to be on a podcast first. We'll say it was you.
No, let's say it was Classic.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty certain that when I first had you on, Classic was on too.
Okay.
So, you know what? I think it was Classic. I'm going to give Classic you know what? I'm tired of being humble. I introduced the two of y'all. I didn't. But still, if I had you on, I don't think I did. I can't. It's hard. It is
hard.
It is hard to remember that far back, first of all. And secondly, it's hard to... I realized a couple days ago that I'm not good at speaking up for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I tell people that apologizing, the more you do it, the easier it gets. But it's the same for speaking up for yourself. The more you do it, the easier it's supposed to get. But it is hard to do. It like causes tremors and heart problems and all that kind of stuff. So, but I'm trying not to be humble. Yeah, nigga, I'm the shit. But I think Classic had you on the show first, and then like a couple days later, it was like, yo, Shanta, you want to be on Single Simulcast? And then for some reason, Classic showed up too. I still don't know how that worked out. Actually, I miss him. We're gonna have to get him on the show soon.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been a little while. I want to say thank you to everybody who has checked out the show. The feedback that we've been getting for Unburdened is really, really nice. Like, I didn't know that a nerve was being struck, but that show's resonating with people, and that's really I'm really hoping that it leads to a more open conversation about mental health for black men. I want to thank everybody who checks out Storytellers. The next episode should be out in probably a day or so. And I really do want to thank you, Shanta. Like, I think I tell you this often. Without you, I would have quit a long time ago. It just wasn't fun anymore. And you have made this show the dynamic product that it is. And you don't get enough credit for that. You really should take a lap. Because you deserve it. I did find a thing on Facebook. Somebody had posted it up, and then I went to see if it was real, and it was real. So once I checked it out and found out that it was legitimate, I want to let everybody know about it. If you are feeling depressed, suicidal, lonely, like, people don't talk about feeling lonely as far as just part of that triumvirate of things. Depressed, suicidal, feeling anxiety, yeah, but sometimes you're just lonely. Like, you could be in a room full of people and just feel so alone. And that happens to me, like, more often than I can speak on right now. But if any of these things are happening to you, or you just need to talk to somebody, a crisis counselor will text with you. If you text HOME, HOME, to the number 741-741, it's a free service in the United States. 741-741. Just text the word HOME, and they will hit you up. They'll hit you right back, and they will talk. There are counselors there. There are people there. I spoke to a guy named Chris earlier today, and he was amazing. You're not alone. And I want you to know that. We're so happy and so proud of some of y'all. I'm not going to name too many names, but Katie, I'm proud of you. Tally, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of y'all. Storm, I'm proud of you. There's a list of people who are just every day, every single day, making that choice to say, you know what, today I'm going to get up. Today I'm going to face whatever horrible thing the world has for me. And I'm going to get through it. That's strength. That open, vulnerable strength. I admire that. I wish it for everybody. But I see it in y'all. And I want you to know that I see it in you. Just like with Shanta, I see everything. I see the good in you. All the time. I don't know. This single simulcast, episode 315. Shantae's been here for 100. Hopefully she'll be here for 1 million more. I unplugged the soundboard. I just realized that when I hit the button to make the reggae horn play. You're fucking welcome, because it's loud here. Like, I can hear it. But, yeah. This single simulcast. Y'all be good. We're out. Peace. Bloodfire! I don't know any other ones.
I don't know either.
Y'all be good. We're out. Peace.
This is Single Simulcast.